It's time for AI Copy Club. I'm so happy you're here. Today, we're going to be talking about how to write a marketing email using AI copy. I'm going to be using ChatGPT. That's my personal favorite, and I'm going to show you how to use it. If you're doing it on your own, it can be a little bit confusing. So I'll walk you through it and show you what kind of prompts to ask so that you are able to move through it and start using it. Now, on the side here, you're going to see all these different chats that I've used. Some aren't labeled, but many of these are once I was able to start labeling them. You'll see some of them cheap, high protein breakfast. There's so many different things, lesson plan for astronomy, but there's so many different things that you can use AI for. And today, like I said, we're talking about using AI for email marketing. Now, you may be thinking, all right, Brittany, you do email marketing. Doesn't this make you nervous? It actually doesn't, because while what I'm going to show you turns out pretty good, there's going to need to be that human side of it. And that's what I'm going to be showing you how to create is taking what we get from ChatGPT, which is AI, taking from that and using that as a foundation to then make edits that won't take as long. Now, the time of this recording, I just want you to know we do have a member area that'll be coming out soon. You'll be able to have access to all the past recordings. And then, of course, future ones will be uploaded there as well. There's also going to be a private podcast there. So if that's what you prefer to listen to instead of watch, I'll have that for you as well. Now, if you don't have a ChatGPT account yet, currently this is free to use. In the future, it will be paid, but even, at least from what I have been able to see so far, the pricing for it is going to be so ridiculously inexpensive that it'll be an easy thing to continue using versus some of the other ones that are out there right now that are quite expensive per month. Yet another reason I like using this particular. So if you haven't signed up yet, I do have a 1 minute, here's how to get signed up kind of thing. So you can go ahead and watch that now and pause this one if you haven't seen that yet. Now, when you log in, there's going to be one of two things. Either you'll see this, it says playground and has this white with black image here. And this is a place to kind of scout some things that you want to do. It also has presets so that you can get an idea for some of the different things you can do with it. So if you want to play around with it, this is a great place to go. It gives you, let's say I want to go here, for example, product name generator. I can click open in playground. And it's going to give me an example of what it might look like to ask it to create a product description. And so Playground is great for testing things out, for getting a feel for it. But really, the magic happens when you're actually in ChatGPT. So if you're thinking, okay, wait, I thought this was ChatGPT. No, it's just the place to test things out. If you go to the bottom of this, it'll say looking for ChatGPT, try it now, and then you can click there. And if you're logged in, it's going to bring you to that chat. And you can see, because it has that green at the beginning, or the green logo here, you're no longer in the playground, you're actually in the ChatGPT area. All right, so let's go ahead and test out this email thing. We're going to test. Okay, so I wrote out my prompt here, and I'm going to share that with you. But I wrote out my prompt, and it's pretty specific, but it's not specific enough that I'm just writing it myself, but it's specific enough that it's from like a CEO perspective of here's what I want them to know. Here are the points that I want to address. Here's the call to action. And even this, I'm not being specific about the call to action. I'm just saying the call to action should be to download your resource. So we're going to go ahead, and I wrote that in here. I just didn't write it while I was recording because otherwise you'll hear because I'm a loud typer. But I'm going to go ahead and press enter. Okay, now this happens every once in a while because there's a lot of people using this right now. So we're going to go ahead and try this again. I'm just going to press this button and it's going to load. Okay, so I just refreshed it. It came right back. Like I said, because there's so many new people using it, there's sometimes downtime here and there. But for a free resource, it's not too bad. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. While this is going, I'm going to take this and I'm going to get the document ready for you. All right. First of all, I don't love the Dear Tired Business Owners. That definitely sounds like a sales letter, but like an old school sales letter. It's just not my style. So I'm going to definitely take that off. But one thing I do love about this is this part right here. Don't give up on Pinterest just yet. With the right resources and a little bit of patience, you can achieve the success you've been striving for. And then it says call to action. So there's a few things, obviously, that you can see right off the bat that we're going to have to change. But let's go ahead and enter this in so we can edit it. Okay, so in this document I'm going to give you, you have the prompt, and then you're going to have the before email, and then I'll show you what it looks like after as well. And I'll take you through it so you can see my thought process on it. One thing I want to note here is that where you put some of the information is going to depend on where it is in the email. So you can see I put this after my name and information, and they put the call to action piece of it down here as well. So that's just something to keep in mind. So you'll have the prompt here, and then I wanted to mention I don't have a Pinterest anything. I just wanted to try something besides email since you probably hear about that a lot from me. All right, so dear tired business owner, I understand that running Pinterest ads can be frustrating, especially when you're not seeing the results you want. So to me, that does feel robotic. It isn't really something that I would say. I would start more with a story. Those of you who have been with me for a while, you know my method. It's the TMRN method, which, as always, I say is the worst acronym of all time, but it works. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and start thinking ATMRN, attention, tell your story, make it mean something, reflect, and next step. Okay, so I'm going to take this part out here. Let me actually come up here and I will use my suggested edits. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is take this part out. Again, it just doesn't sound like me. I never say dear so-and. So let's see, I understand that running Pinterest ads can be frustrating. So because one thing that I do to help myself stand out and from other emails is that I don't often use the word frustrating, tired, exhausting, those kind of things, because you hear that from everybody. It's almost a cliche at this point. Overwhelmed is another word that you hear a lot. So instead of saying frustrating, I might say, I understand that running Pinterest ads can be hopeless, can feel like you're running in circles, can feel like you're in a sinking boat with only a bucket to get the water out. I actually like that one, so I think I'm going to do that one. Okay, so I'm going to change this to, if you're like many of my clients, again, this isn't something that I actually do, this is just a fake one, but I would say something like this. If you're like many of my clients who come to me after months of running Pinterest ads with zero to little results, you may feel like you're in a sinking ship with only a bucket to get the water out. You've invested so much money already into ads and nothing seems to work. And then I'm going to go here and I'm going to bring this part down. It's easy to think that maybe your niche, you know what, I'm going to move this down here. Okay, so I changed this from, I understand that running Pinterest ads can be frustrating, especially when you're not seeing the results you want, to, if you're like many of my clients who find me, I might even say if you're like many of my new clients, or if you're something like that, because I don't want them to think, oh, they're a client of hers and they're still having this issue. So unless that's true, obviously, but if you're like many of my clients who find me after spending hundreds of thousands, I'm going to italicize the word thousands just to add that extra emphasis of dollars on Pinterest with little to, or zero results. You're probably feeling like you're on a sinking ship with only a tiny pail to scoop out the water. My goal here is that it brings up some kind of image for you. It's easy to think that maybe your niche, I hate that word. I can't ever say it. I don't mind reading it. I just hate saying it. It's easy to think that maybe your niche just isn't going to work. So what I had here before was, but I want to reassure you that Pinterest is a long game. I don't really like it there. So I'm going to take that out and put a period, I think, at the end. So I'm going to change it to, it's easy to think that maybe your niche just isn't going to work. So I want to go more in depth on that and really tap into that feeling they may be having right now of it's working for everybody else. Either what's wrong with me and my business or what's wrong with me that I can't figure this out. All right, so I took out what I had before and I changed it to what's wrong with your business that everyone else seems to figure it out, but you just can't. The Pinterest gurus online are telling you to just spend more money, but you know that throwing money at a problem hardly ever solves the problem and only leaves you broke. So then I'm going to go into what's working. So I'm going to say, here's a secret, and I'm going to take out Pinterest is a long game. I'll probably use this someplace else. The people who are winning are usually the ones who are sticking with it consistently. So I do like that. Let's see. I'm going to change it around a little bit though. Okay, so I put, let me share a little secret that they're not telling you. And then I'm actually going to bring back in that I want to reassure you that Pinterest is a long game, but I'm just going to change it a little bit. So I'm going to italicize and say Pinterest is a long game. Okay, so Pinterest is a long game. It's a platform of consistency, and the people who are winning are usually the ones who are sticking with it consistently. Okay, so next it has for me, it's important to remember that there are always phrases, words, tweaks, and minor adjustments that can be made no matter what industry you're in. The key is to test, and test some more. You may not have success with Pinterest ads because you haven't tested for long enough, and you might not know what to test. The good news is that I've spent the last 3 years testing it for me. Okay, so I'm going to chunk this up a little bit so it's easier for me to see what I need to do. So it's important to remember that there are always phrases, words, tweaks, and minor adjustments that can be made. I don't really love that sentence. So I think instead, I'm going to take a few pieces of this. Actually, I'm going to change people who are winning are usually the ones who are sticking with it consistently. and making minor tweaks along the way, or minor adjustments along the way. And then I might say something like, that idea of set it and forget it just isn't realistic, at least not anymore. So I changed that to, the idea that Pinterest is a set it and forget it platform just isn't realistic or correct anymore. I'm going to italicize set it and forget it so that I can break that up as they're reading it a little bit. Now, as you're watching this, I want you to know, I don't know if this is true. So this is just an example email. I don't know if what I'm writing here is true. Obviously, if I was writing this for a client, I would be writing it just human made. And then also, if I was writing it for myself, I would know the information because I know my business, but I don't know Pinterest business. So let me just say that I'm not really looking for accuracy at this point. I'm looking for just showing you how to use this platform. Okay, we have a supporter arm. There are always phrases, words, tweaks, and minor adjustments. That doesn't really add much to the email, so I'm going to take that out. And then I'm going to say, or leave the next part in. You might not have had success with Pinterest ads because you haven't tested long enough and you don't know what to test. And then I'm going to take this next sentence I'm going to add a space in between, or a line in between. But the good news is that I've spent the last 3 years testing a formula for Pinterest success in many different industries. And I'm going to say in many different versions, Pinterest versions as well. All right, so the next thing I did was let's see, you might not have had success with Pinterest ads because you haven't tested long enough and you might not know what to test. But the good news is that I've spent so this part, that the good news, that doesn't really add anything to it. So I'm going to take that part out. I've spent the last 3 years testing a formula for Pinterest success in many different industries and in many different Pinterest versions. And then I added, I've seen so many of my friends and colleagues come to the brink of giving up on Pinterest, but with the tweaks and adjustments from my formula, they've been able to go from throwing Pinterest to the piranhas. I like the alliteration there, and I also like the imagery of piranhas, to using it and seeing sales from it. So then I'm going to say I want to share it with you for free today. I'm going to change that to, I'm giving you free access to my formula for the next 7 days, or it could be forever, but I'm going to go ahead and add that in. Okay, next, what I've added is, we left off, I've seen so many of my friends and colleagues come to the brink of giving up on Pinterest, but with the tweaks and adjustments for my formula, they've been able to go from throwing Pinterest to the piranhas to using it and seeing sales from it. For the first time ever, I'm sharing my formula with you for free. Now, you'll notice here I put free in all caps. I'm also going to bold it. We see usually in email that free with all caps and bold does better than having it written any other kind of way. This is something I normally only share with my clients. You'll learn how to test your images and what to test for better results, how to update your copy, and the 5 other, instead of pieces, I could say the 5 other tips, the 5 other maybe foundational pillars. I don't know if I love that, but I do like the alliteration of a powerful and profitable pin. So if you're ready to, and then I took out the part that said, one important factor to consider is the appeal of images you're sharing. So I said something similar. I just put it in language that I would use. This one didn't really sound like me, so that's why I changed that. In my experience, the most successful Pinterest campaigns are those that feature visually appealing images that grab the viewer's attention. I've meticulously tested this formula and I know it works. So I took that part out because I feel like I've already said that, so I didn't really need that last part. And then the part where it was, in my experience, the most successful Pinterest campaigns are those that feature visually appealing images. So that part I took out. If I was to write another email, I could use these 2 lines in that email and it'd work really well if I focused on the image. That's why I took it out. I felt like it was going a different direction, but I do really like the lines. I just think it'd be better in a different email. And then finally, so if you're ready to give Pinterest another shot, I encourage you to download my resource. It's free and contains everything you need to get started on the path to Pinterest success. So I like path to Pinterest success, but I don't like this part. It says it's free and it contains everything you need. While it is free, I liked how I said this better up here. Let's see, for the first time ever, I'm sharing my formula with you for free. I normally only share it with my clients. That, to me, that feels like a lot more value than saying, hey, here's this resource that's free. So that's why I took that one out. Let's see, you'll learn how to test your images. And so I'm just going to put get your free and then be the name of the guide or name of the formula for free today while it's still free. Okay, so then I added get your name of formula today before it goes back into my client vault. You may say something different than client vault. I like it, but it might be too cheesy for you. So up to you on that one. And then I said, sincerely, Brittany Long, the Queen of Evergreen, Win with Systems. And then ChatGPT ended it at Please, PS, don't give up on Pinterest just yet. With the right resources and a little bit of patience, I'm going to put just with the right resources. Whoops. With the right resources, you can achieve the success you've been striving for. So you can achieve the success you've been striving for. It sounds very cliche to me. So I'm going to change it to with the right resources. Let's see. Maybe you can have the same kind of success your peers are getting. You can be the next success story. You can be the next Pinterest success story. I really like that. So if I feel really confident about my formula, I have lots of success stories with it. It's working for people left and right. That's probably what I would say. Okay, so I ended it. PS, please don't give up on Pinterest. Or PS, don't give up on Pinterest just yet. With the right resources, you can be the next Pinterest success story. Grab your name of formula, whatever that product is, while you can still snatch it up for free. And then I'd have testimonials down here as well, talking about how it's helped them. So as you can see, as we're looking through it, there are a lot of, it's like a Frankenstein email. There's a lot that I've taken from it. I'll change this to in progress email so you can see the end as well. Let me just change that. There we go. And then I'll copy and paste this so you can see the finished version without all the suggested edits in it too. But hopefully that helps you to see what it can actually look like when it has these updates in it. And yeah, I hope that was helpful for you. If you have any questions, and I don't normally do this, but this week, if you'd like me to take a look at the email that you created, I'm happy to review it. I probably won't be able to do everyone, but I will spend about 30 minutes working on it. So I'll create a form for you that you can submit it. Okay, and I actually put this at the top of this document. So it's a surprise bonus. You can submit your AI created email at this link here, and then I'll spend about 30 minutes this week reviewing as many as I can. This is something that is just a little surprise that I decided just now. It's not actually part of your AI copy club, but I figured it might be helpful. So here you go. All right, so this is for people that are doing this live on the week of January 2023, or first week of January 2023. And so now you have the prompt, you have the before email, you have the suggested edits, and you have the after email. Now, all of those took me, on here it says about 18 minutes. It would have taken me less time if I wasn't stopping and going throughout. So it is something that will save a lot of time. It takes a little bit of time and tweaking to see where to put things, but it will for sure save a lot of time in the long run. Now, a few things that I want to just go over, final things. I have the, like I said, ATM-RN model. So attention, is there something that's going to get attention here? If you're like many of my clients, so first of all, letting them know I have clients and then identifying if they're feeling this way, if they've spent money on Pinterest. So basically I'm calling out, does this sound like them? The next part that I'm doing is tell your story. So I do a little bit of that here as well. Sometimes the A and the T, the attention and tell your story can combine. So this one I'm talking about the client's story, not really my story, but the client's story. When you're telling your story in an email, it doesn't necessarily have to be yours. It just has to be an interesting story that makes them feel seen, makes them feel like, oh, somebody else understands what I'm experiencing. And then we have make it mean something. So this part here, make it mean something, that feeling of, man, this just isn't going to work for me. They probably also recognize this part. And then we have down here, the make it mean something again. People that are winning are usually the ones who are sticking with it consistently, making adjustments. You may not have had success with Pinterest ads. So this is talking again to them personally, something that they've experienced. And then when I'm thinking of the reflect, basically that is what's going to be on their mind. What are they thinking? Oh, it must be nice for you, but it would never work for me because, or yeah, it would work for you, but it wouldn't work for me because. So here I'm thinking they might say, of course it works for you. You're in this industry. It would never work for me. Or of course it worked for you 2 years ago, but it never worked for me right now. So that's why I have that line here. Let's see. And then the next step that I have is here, this part. For the first time ever, I'm sharing my formula. Get the name of the formula today before it goes back into the vault. And I'm going to put here for free. And again, I'm going to bold it in italicized or bold it in all caps. And then this is also going to be a link. So I'm just going to put it in blue so you can see that's linking. And then I have another next step or next call to action here. It's the same call to action. It's just written a little bit differently, but it's the same action I want them to take. All right. So that is everything. You may have some questions. Like I said, it may take a little bit longer the first few times, but having that baseline ultimately is going to take you much longer. And for me, usually I can write my emails in 5 minutes or less. But if you're writing emails and they're taking you hours or weeks or even 1 hour, you're still going to be saving time using AI to get that baseline and then go from there. Reach out if you have questions. This will be up in the member area soon, and I will talk to you soon.